afternoon, everyone. This is Tony from Her Homestead Skills, and yes, I am back home and doing a lot of catch-up on things that need to be done. I did harvest some of my herbs, and the chamomile, I did pick off each little flower individually. I found a method that makes it fairly quick, so I probably will harvest more chamomile while I can. Okay, so I have figured out a simple way to take these little flower heads off of the chamomile, and because pulling them off is just really irritating for one thing. And it's just using a little pair of snips that look like this, and what makes them easy is that you just squeeze and cut. Now, I used to use these for cutting threads on my quilting machine, so I have a few of these snips around. And I have my tray from my dehydrator. I am not going to dehydrate these, but I will use this tray to drop the flowers on. So this is how simple it is. Now, pulling them off one by one is really painful, but doing this is not. It won't last much longer in the garden. It'll all start to go to seed and fall down, but that's fine. That helps to reseed the plot for next year. And the lavender is still great. I still have time to harvest more of that, and I will be doing. And I double checked today, and my rhubarb is ready. And I think I'm going to can up some rhubarb on its own, just to store it for future use, either to add with strawberry to make jam or to make a rhubarb pie. You know, there's so much you can do, or just even plain old stewed rhubarb with ice cream. So I am going to can up some rhubarb this year, and my rhubarb plant has finally grown to the size where I can harvest some stems off it. It took a few years to get to that size. It always does. So, and of course, there's always laundry after a trip, and I've got to make some bread and do some more of a shopping. I did visit the not the flea markets, the thrift stores today, and found nothing. I find that while I was in the US, there were a lot more things that were interesting to me. But such is the case. I do wander through these shops in order to occupy some time and to do something different rather than keeping myself inside all the time, which I don't like to do. I have more bread to make, and I think I'm going to start working on making more chicken stock to see if I can keep ahead of Mark drinking it. Seems to keep him healthy. He seems to enjoy it. No harm in making it for him. So I'm going to start that very soon. We also have a lot of canning projects ahead of us because now is the season. I'm sure that fresh strawberries will be available very soon, and I'll probably hit one of these pick your own and grab a whole bunch while they're beautiful and fresh and really nice, rather than getting them from the stores where they're hard and bitter. I mean, we can get them from the stores all year round, but it's not the same as picking them fresh from the farm. It's true that the ones from the stores seem to last a little bit longer, and the ones fresh from the farm, you pretty much got to eat them right away, especially if you pick them super ripe. But as long as you use them right away, in whatever form you're going to, whether you're going to just cut and clean and freeze, or whether you're going to make jam or whatever, it'll be fine. So yes, it is the season, and it's coming up, and I've checked my stock of lids, and I went overboard buying lids, so I don't think I even have to buy any this year, which is fine. I probably have enough to last 3 years, but I may top them up some more anyway, while I can, at the price that I can get them. Now, I found when I was in the US that even the lids cost about $5 US, which is even more than in Canada. Like, I can get lids, regular size, mind you, for $5 in Canada, which our Canadian dollar isn't worth as much as yours. But I can still get my lids at Dollarama for $2.50, so 2 for the price of 1, and well worth. I think I bought a case the last time, so, and I don't remember, maybe even 2 cases in the last little while, last year or so. So I'm okay for lids, but there's no harm in keeping a good supply of those in-house. So probably will be doing that. So I've got enough jars, I've got enough lids. I've got a lot of empty jars to fill, and it's a matter of determining what it is that I want to can up this year, what I have plenty of, what we have used, what we don't use, and what I probably will not can again because I have still some in stock. So we'll just see what we can do this year. I've enjoyed the jams, and tomatoes. Tomato puree is something that I do every year, and I will also be making salsa for the first time. Now, I've looked at some recipes and I'm not thrilled. I found one recipe that says to use tomato paste to make salsa. I'm not a fan of using tomato paste. I don't even use that to make tomato sauce anymore. I find that with my own homemade puree, I keep that thick enough that I don't need the paste to thicken my sauce. So I have not bought tomato paste in years. And I will try to find a recipe for salsa that does not use paste but uses fresh tomatoes and see how that goes. My garden is doing well in some respects and not well in others. We'll see how it goes. My sweet potato vines did suffer a little transition in the transplant, but they've come back. The vines are coming back, so they're fine. My potatoes were infested with potato bugs before I left, so they've suffered some harm. I may have to do something about that. The garlic is doing amazing. And if you saw my last video, you see that I processed some garlic scapes, and that was the first time I've made those. So I kind of just followed what my lady friend told me she does, partially. And that is mix it with oil, and she mixes it with all kinds of other things, that recipe that she found that she likes. And I didn't realize until some of you have mentioned that I could have just dried it and turned it into a powder, which is something I probably will do the next time. But as it is, Mark looked in the fridge and he saw those 2 jars and he said, "Is that your garlic scapes?" I said, "Yes, it is." And he pulled one out and he just tried some on a nacho chip, and he just ate 3 spoonfuls of the stuff. So he enjoyed it. I said, "Well, yes, I could freeze some of it." And he says, "It won't last that long." And I'm like, cool. So I didn't waste my time making it for nothing. And his thought was that if you added sour cream to it, and a little bit of salt, it would make an awesome dip. And he's probably right there. So we'll probably get some sour cream and put some aside for him to do that. At least, and I know that Mark loves garlic, and that's a great way for him to get some. It's a milder flavor than the garlic itself, and it can be eaten like that, so he really enjoyed it. I'll have to remember to make scapes again for him and not throw them out. I think the last year I just cut them off and tossed them, but I've got a lot more garlic this year, and I plan to hopefully have a good garlic feast. So apparently they had a sale on my 8 o'clock coffee today, or for the next week. Unfortunately, it's not the blend that I normally buy. That one was still $23, $24 a bag. But the darker bag that has a blend, probably the one that they can't sell as much, was on sale for $13, $12.99. So I bought one bag today because I am on my last bag of coffee at this point. And I thought I would try that and see what it's like, because it would appear that that is the only one they're going to put on sale for the next little while. Anyway, we'll see what happens there. $13 is still much more than I used to pay, and I don't think prices are going to go down anytime soon. And even that one, I think the last time I saw sale price on that, it was $18. So they've dropped it by $5 once and another $5 now. Perhaps they're just trying to clear stock, I don't know. But it's not the one that I normally buy. The one that I normally buy is still $23, $24. There's lots of noises now about an upcoming recession. Governments and media outlets are admitting to it finally. Interest rates are climbing again. And just for a tiny short while, Canada raised their rates and the US didn't, but the US will likely raise theirs in July. So that's not that far away. And I'm sure that Canada will raise theirs again. And it's a difficult situation. And nasty people, they seem to want to get inflation under control by eliminating jobs. And that seems to be what they're trying to do. And I suspect a lot of the jobs that will be eliminated are retail, simply because of what's going on in the retail sector. Stores are getting looted more and more every day, and no repercussions, and as long as that continues to happen, the looting will continue as well. So you can expect that to continue. You can expect more stores to shut down and more people out of work. And of course, that's what the government seems to be aiming for. So pretty sad state of affairs. I don't know why there are people who think that they will never have to pay the piper. You know, I do believe in a God, and I do believe in justice, and just sometimes because you don't see justice happening in man's world does not mean that God will not take these people to task in his own time, and justice will prevail. It always does. It's not in our hands. I keep hearing people talk about the battle between good and evil, and that's what's going on now. And I think that's always been going on. Perhaps it's more highlighted now because everything is so blatantly out in the open now. Although I'm a firm believer in being aware of what's going on, I'm also a firm believer in not dwelling on the negativities of the situation. Try to be happy. Try to overcome situations that you're faced with as best you can with whatever solutions you have available. And it's quite clear that a lot of people are going to be losing their jobs in the next little while. That does seem to be the driving motivation behind governments continually raising their interest rates. They want to control something by punishing those that can least afford it, is what it comes down to, sadly enough. Now, I will be doing a lot more canning this fall as well. I just don't know what yet. As I see what's available. Oh yes, corn, I'm short on corn. Probably can up some peas or freeze them. We have to deal with what is and learn to accept the reality of the situation we're living in. Okay, keep happy. Keep prepping. Keep your eyes open. Watch out for the pitfalls. And do your best to overcome. This is Tony from Her Homestead Skills. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.